What's going on, everybody? Shout out everybody jumping on. Yo, Dame, I see you. Big Ace, I see you. Mr. Bard, salute to everybody that's jumping on. Nate, oh, y'all coming in hot. I love it. I love it. Salute to everybody jumping on. Mouse, what's going on, Mouse? Okay, I'm seeing the people and loving the energy. It feels good to be here on this Monday, especially after this eventful weekend that I had. So to keep the cake going and putting the cherry on top, we're gonna have a dope sit down today, y'all. You know that we always come with some real creative people, a lot of backgrounds, today we will not disappoint. We will not disappoint, but I do want to send a big shout out to everybody in the Philippines. We getting a lot of love from the Philippines, so shout out to everybody in the Philippines on the MJMG Presents app, Google TV and Apple TV. Salute to y'all. You guys will always be acknowledged. I know you're not in the chat right now, but I do want to send love to y'all because you guys are here religiously every Monday spreading love. So shout out to everybody. And as always, if you have a question, something you want to know, get some insight, please feel free to put it in the chat and I will try my best to get to it. I will get to it. But I know today is going to transcend farther than just music. It's going to go deep into passion. It's going to go into grind, dedication, and all the reasons. I didn't even have the conversation yet, but I could bet all the reasons why one should not quit. So stay tuned because there will be a lot more in this conversation that I can't even hit right now until it happens. So I look forward to it. Shout out to MJMG Presents. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little representation of Gray Keyz music. Feel free to tell us how you're feeling about it. And right after this, we're going to pull the man of the hour on the set and we're going to chop it up. And if this is your first time on SHU Radio by way of MJMG Presents, tell a friend, sit tight, stay tuned, and matter of fact, get a pen and a pad because there will be gems. Shout out, y'all. So check this out. This record is called Been There Before. Check this out, y'all. I was back here vibing. I must say, as an engineer myself, right? Sound, like I love sound. And I can hear sometimes when like the drums is a little bit muddy or a little bit peaking, and it might not matter to no one else, but as an engineer, it'd be driving me crazy. So when them drums came in tight, compression was on perfection. When I came in, I could appreciate even the subtle sounds in the background, like where the snare kicks, and I think he had the cowbell or something going on back there. Like the merging of sounds is an art in itself, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that today, y'all. We're gonna talk a little about that. This brother, I watch this brother when he's on live, I be peeking in. I be busy, I be in the car or something. I jump in because I love to see creativity in its purest form. with that passion to create. And his brother captures that not only in his sound, but we're gonna hear it directly from his voice himself. And we're gonna get a little background. We're gonna let him get background, because sometimes people just be thinking, you're a producer or you're a writer or you're a magician, just make it happen. But it took a lot of hours, it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of passion. And today we're gonna honor that passion. So without further ado, let's give a round of applause to Gray Keyz. Music, what's going on, my brother? What's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh man, thank you. So for those that might not know, right? For those that might not know where you hailing from and a little bit about yourself, could you just share that real quick, and then we're gonna get right into the grits of it all.
Yeah, man, I'm out here in beautiful Houston, Texas. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, but got raised here in Texas, man. So definitely a H-Town kid.
Nice. Now I've watched you. I've seen you cook up online and put in that work. When did you start getting into the production side of it all? Like, how did that happen?
It's actually, it goes back a long time. So my uncle was a renowned band director and a renowned saxophonist. He bought me a saxophone when I was 12. So I've always been like on the band side. I played at the HBCU band, Texas Southern University. We talking way back now, like graduated in 1995 from TSU. And then I decided I wanted to get into the digital side of it.
Okay.
Side of it. So around 2000 or so, I started getting into music production, not just being an instrumentalist, but getting on the music production side.
Nice. And was that transition smooth from going into the instrument into the digital?
Musically, yes. Technically, no. Because you're standing at a performance and all you care about is your mic, right? Then you hear what the rest of the team is doing, and is your mic live? You're going into the digital world, now you got to know how to move in this DAW, if it's a DAW.
True.
It was pretty shaky in 2000. And it was just so much to learn. So I did, in a lot of regard, feel like I was starting over again. So
Gotcha. And when you first was going into, the recording, what was the first line? I know you mentioned DAW, for those that don't know, the digital audio workstation, right? But when you first was going into that, what did you use? Like what was your first introduction to the digital world?
So like everyone, I was really trying to get my feet under me with Pro Tools. And it was tough back then because Pro Tools was super expensive and only really available if you went to a studio.
Yeah.
It's tough too, right?
Yeah.
Long there. They really didn't have a lot of time for somebody who's just learning the DAW. So around 2004, I discovered Reason, and I've been rocking with Reason ever since.
Gotcha. Reasons is pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, when you was getting into the production, I know most artists when they're getting into the first realm of it all, I know they face, like, we each and every one of us has faced in hardship in our journey, especially when we first started. Was there one hardship that you could capture that moment that you keep with you to this day that kind of makes who Gray Keyz is?
Yeah, I feel like I had a ton of them because if you think back to 2004, not only was there no video instruction available on YouTube, there was no YouTube.
There was no, yes.
So if you didn't have a mentor, like, you really moved really slowly. But fast forward to like, and I did that for many years. I incrementally got better, but it was moving really slowly. Around 2018, I met this good young brother named Curtis King, and I paid him for a consultation, and I went into it, and I was like, man, he sent me this questionnaire. Said, hey, what do you want to get out of this? Send me some music, and just tell me where you are right now. And I did all that. He listened to my music, and then I was saying things like, hey, man, I just do this because I love it. It's just a hobby for me. Uh, and he helped me see that I was defeating myself by making excuses for where I was musically.
Hmm.
And man, when I turned that corner, I really started producing for what I like and not what people think I should be doing. Changed me, bro. It just changed me.
That's deep. That's very instrumental in people's careers now. I want to go. I want to go back a little bit. You were at a pivotal point where when going digital, like you mentioned, there was no YouTube. Like YouTube University has saved a lot of us, right? You was doing this before all that. All that. What was some of the driving forces that kept you going in it? Because you said it was going slow, and I could imagine in that time, but some of the things you didn't even know you were getting wrong or right. It was just like you was
Right.
just doing it.
You
What
just
was what was driving that?
So I had a cousin. I still have a cousin, but my cousin goes by back then. He went by Kaylee Supreme, and he was a part of the South Park Coalition here in Houston, founded by the great K Reno. And he was at the time rapping only, but couldn't find anybody to really be consistent with the music production. So he started making beats. And so we fed off of each other. He's about 2 years older than me, and he was really the inspiration for me not quitting. He just We just kept sharpening each other. So yeah,
Nice,
what happened?
nice. With knowing both sides of the fence, knowing how it is without kind of like the digital world and the digital and how now having the access to it. What are the good and bads in your journey? Like you could personalize it from going that route, not having the internet and having the access to information to having the access to information for
Yeah.
your career.
Yeah, so now I feel like the good is information is available for us. If you're willing to put that time in, I still believe in music, especially in the music industry, you need a mentor. You need
Mm.
someone who can continue. They're not going to gas you when you don't need to be gassed. And they're going to tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it. The bad is, we miss the warmth from that analog world. Like the sound sonically was just, and we've been trying to emulate it for years. But I would say that would be the bad for me.
I agree. I agree. As a studio owner, I was digital from the gate. I was digital. It saved space. It was easy. And then I got a hardware, and I was like, oh. And
What's
then I just started buying hardware up. Like, oh, I need this one, and it does make a difference.
for sure?
You said something that was very important, and I think a lot of people minimize it because of how easy access is having a mentor. And my question to having the mentor, having someone there, was there ever a time that someone shared an advice to you or was guiding you, and you just was like, "Nah, I got it. I don't see it that way," and then you came back to it like, "Yeah, yeah, you got a point." Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say late now. We're kind of getting around. We're past 2004. Now we're in the late 2000s, approaching 2010. And I couldn't understand why I wasn't like Kanye, all these big producers. And this good guy. He told me, he said, "Man, are you ready for that success? Are you positioned for that right now?" And I had to be honest with myself. I wanted what they had, but I hadn't done what they did. I
Mm,
didn't grind. I didn't have a complete grind yet. I didn't have a complete um, walking into, let's say, your studio and saying, "Hey man, I'm not asking to be paid, but what can I contribute around here that would help you?" I didn't have that attitude yet. And that's what, to me, collaboration is about. You don't approach it with what you get out of it. You approach it with what you can give to it.
I respect that, and I really love that you highlighted that, because that's one of the biggest conversations I think this era. And I don't want to. I'm learning to stop saying generation, right? This era, like this era, because I be seeing young and old be acting the same sometimes. So I see I see this era making that mistake. So when was your first like true collaboration, when you opened up to working and having that moment to grow and collaborate with your creativity?
I would say I tried to do that unsuccessfully till about from about 2010. I should say it wasn't always unsuccessful, but from about 2010 to about 2018, I was, struggling with musical identity. I was struggling with the Sonics because, again, we had left that beautiful, not left it, but it was becoming, the studios were more and more digital.
Yeah.
So there was less analog than we had seen before. Um, and so I was trying to navigate these collaborations, and some went okay, some went just horribly. And I did a lot of soul searching, man. I did a lot of soul searching, and I just had to flip my own mental to say, okay, if I keep approaching this with what I want to get out of it, I'm never going to get the best from that collaborator.
That's deep.
Sometimes you're boxing them in because you already have defined what you want. Other times, if you say, hey, let me start some off, and then you just do you completely. And then, man, that's when it clicked for me.
Nice, nice. And do you remember that one body of work, or working with someone that you finally sat back and was like, yeah, that's one right there. That's one right there.
For sure, for sure. I work with this young kid out of Oklahoma by the name of Damar. He goes by "Is That Damar" on social media, and bro, we just went crazy. We probably have over 100 collaborations to this day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's how you know it went crazy. That's how you keep cooking up. It's like, yo, we keep making that crazy.
Nice.
Was there a moment, and I know that a lot of artists, and I'm asking a lot of parallel questions because we have artists and producers on right now.
Mhm.
Was there ever a moment that, I know you said you did a lot of soul searching, that you felt like, damn, is this the thing to do? Am I going in the right direction? Like, was there ever a moment of some type of doubt, or even if you question it? And if there was, what did you do to not succumb to it?
Yeah, I had a lot of that, man. I had a lot of that, and then I'm gonna be honest, man. I had moments of should I keep grinding? This is a young man's game, or at least that's what you're taught. And you're not thinking about the moments where Quincy Jones has the most success he's ever had in his whole life at 45. You're not thinking about those who came to the game late and still had success. You're thinking about, man, why haven't I done what I wanted to do? So yeah, that can get pretty dark. But man, I think I always had good people around me that just, when I was too weak to think positively about it, they kept me going, man.
Nice. You just took my next question out. I was gonna say, how important was a support system around you? And you, right before I could ask, you mentioned like I had some people
Yeah,
around me. That does
yeah,
make it a lot easier, and reinforcing.
for
So
sure.
as you was traveling and getting, those moments and making those magics, with artists, and I can imagine the confidence and creativity growing. What was your next step? Like, what was the next stage for you in your transition?
So I always respected my mentor, and I always, even if even if he gave me advice and I thought, yeah, that's probably not for me, I was doing, I was grinding enough to where that moment would come back to me and it would just resonate. And so I kind of just stopped doubting what he was telling me because I realized he was really just trying to make it better. Um, and so, yeah, there was a lot of moments where I was like, I'm gonna make music now that resonates with me, and I promise, if it resonates with me, it will resonate with somebody else.
And that is one to grow on, y'all. That is one to grow on. You're saying a lot of things that I speak highly of, especially as a creative. Whatever it is you do, I speak highly of as a creative. Have you ever had that like full circle moment where you came back around, like just like your advice, you came back around to someone who probably doubted you, or didn't want to work, or didn't want to, and or said something, and now you're faced with that decision, and I could tell from the head nod you have faced that. Did you proceed in working with them, or did you take the prideful route? I'm like, yeah, you forgot. I remember that moment. Yeah, motherfucker. Like, did you? How did you face that?
That's a great question. I think for me, it always depended on the energy of it, right? If I felt like it was something positive, if I felt like I could benefit, but I could also bring something to the table and they would benefit too, I would definitely consider it. Um, if the energy was negative, if it was bad, I just would politely keep on my way. Just keep moving.
You you have an extreme humble and balanced approach. You're really balanced. It's like
Yeah,
the perfect quarter-inch cable. Like,
I appreciate it, man.
you know,
Moving.
my next question is kind of parallel to that, working with others and people that let you down. Let's talk a little bit about, like, life keeps life, and I know mental health is a big thing, and as much as we might not recognize it, in this field that we in, there's a lot of energy, a lot of emotions. Was there ever a moment that you had to like sit back from this thing and really reconcile with yourself or reflect on yourself
Yeah.
before you could get back? And if you did, is there any advice you could share, that, and any advice to the artists that are on who might be facing that as we speak?
Yeah. The number one thing, man, is don't quit. Never give up. A lot of times we're like that next move after that moment where we're feeling at our lowest and we want to just stop. That next move is something. The very next one, man. And so I definitely had a lot of times like that, man. And I just kept grinding and I didn't let people who didn't have the same viewpoint as me. A lot of people thought, hey, Gray, you kind of old. You got the grays everywhere. You could probably be hanging this up. And like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm gonna keep pushing.
That's you said it. Don't quit.
Don't
Don't
quit.
quit. Just keep going and keep creating. Keep creating. So as you was going along into the creativity and facing your ups and downs and finding what you like, I know you mentioned that the phrase, it's a young man's game, right? It's a young man's game. We hear that a lot. I don't believe that, but I've heard it, and there was a few times when I was younger I probably even recited that. But how do you compete and keep relevant and prevalent into this game?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because now I'm in a position where I'm mentoring, right? That the roles have flipped, and I still have a mentor, but now I'm helping a younger class under me, and so um, one of the things we kind of touched on it a little bit, but one of the things that helped me get there is I tell people who are younger and they're starting out, hey, when you first start this music production journey, you got to decide where you want to be. And it's hard to do when you're learning the ins and outs. So my advice is to emulate someone, emulate them, emulate them, emulate them. And then after a few years of that, because it takes a while, you'll start hearing the music differently. And you'll be like, okay, I would have did that differently. That's your sound right there. That's
Nice.
that's what makes you you. When you start to hear the music in a way where you still enjoy it, but you would have did it this way. And then that's how you come into your own expression, your own sound, your own sonic.
That's dope. I've never, I've always heard advice that was like parallel, kind of sound the same, but I've never heard that approach. I've never heard that approach. That is a very interesting approach, and hopefully someone in the chat or who's listening through the MJMG Presents app could utilize some of this information and go from there. So as you continue on, what was some of the artists or the memorable artists that you feel brought out that sound and that energy and made some collaborative work?
Oh man, there's so many, bro. I work with some great artists and some great producers. Um, Man, Curtis King was really, really instrumental to getting me on my path because he was the person who helped me to see where your music is fine, but your excuses about your music is holding you back. You saying, "Oh, I just do this for fun," me lessening the blow so he won't be critical of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me taking away the sting. So he has no choice but to come back and say something nice. Because I'm telling him, I ain't trying to be this for a living.
Yep.
But in my mind, I'm always trying to figure out how can I do this for a living. Um, when I got out of that, man, like I said, I keep coming back to the same refrain, but it really redirected me and changed my path for sure.
That's deep. That's deep. Because I think a lot of, I mean, I hear it a lot. I hear a lot of people like, yo, I was just playing with it. I ain't even do, they automatically downplay it. And what they say in court, like, stop leading the witness, stop leading the witness. For artists, and that's one outlet that, or one mind frame aspect that hinders artists. But from your journey and where you've been and where you are now, what are some of the things you think artists are doing wrong or creatives are doing wrong for their artistry?
Yeah, it's a tough time. It's the best time to be an artist, and it's a tough time to be an artist. And I would say the rules have changed so much, and they're constantly changing that I don't know that there's a right or wrong for the artist. What I would say is producers, find an artist that you believe in and build with that artist and go crazy, go all out. And same thing with artists. Artists, find a producer who can help give you the sound that you want. They care enough about you to help produce your sound and what's unique about you.
I'm gonna say this on the behalf of producers, and I've produced a few tracks, but I wouldn't call myself a producer as far as making beats. But yo, all y'all artists out there, put some respect on your producer, man. Put some respect on your producer, B. He was cooking up all night, making sure that snare was snapping. He ain't trying to just feed you beats all day for free, B. I gotta say it, man, cause you too humble. I gotta say it. He not cooking up for free, y'all. All right, y'all. So respect it. Come with some good stuff and be about your business. With
What's
that
up?
be, with that being said, as a producer, what are some of the misconceptions that artists have when approaching a producer or approaching you that they do wrong? They need to work on it, man.
Yeah, I think one of the wrong approaches is, artists will approach me and say, "Hey, um, I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't have any budget," which is not always a killer to the conversation, right? I think most artists think that's gonna kill it, and sometimes it will. Um, but they'll say, "But this song is gonna blow, and when I blow, you gonna blow." That's a bad approach because collaboration, we have to get into the mindset of what do we bring to each other. If I don't know you and we're going to collaborate, what am I going to bring to this and what are you going to bring to it? That needs to be the approach, in my
Thank you for saying it. Because when I say it, I'm a hater. But I'm
opinion.
glad, I'm glad someone else reiterated that word. Speaking of production, I'm seeing this super increase of production on YouTube. Like there's all kinds of tight beats and producers are coming out of left field. I almost look at YouTube as a production space now. If you're not looking for information on how to put together the bunk bed, there's producers. How do you feel about that as a producer, and how do you feel it's damaging how producers could generate, or is it a plus? How, from a producer standpoint, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I actually like it. I'm one of those that like it. But you know, we come from an era where you're in the studio and producers have tape over the MPC screen. They don't even want you to see what sounds they're loading up. Right? That's the era we came from. Now I'm of the mindset that even if we share gems, and I think we should be doing that as a community, um, we're still not gonna do it the same.
Yeah,
I don't care if you have my snare. You can have my snare. You can have my whole kit. We still gonna do it differently.
that's true.
So I'm okay with YouTube being a place where there's a lot of competition for content for folks that are just making beats, cooking up live, recording live. Like I'm okay with that. I love it.
Now, I gotta throw this in, just to get your perspective, because now I'm talking to a producer, so I get to ask these questions, right?
Yeah.
AI, as a producer, competing against all the new outlets, all the DAWs, all the phone apps that make it so easy to cook up something that's really good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, the rise? Because AI been around for a while now, but
Facts,
the
facts.
rise of it in like the production space.
So I'm looking at AI as a tool, right? And tools in a good hand is a good tool. In a bad hand is a bad tool.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I got a buddy. I'm not gonna say his name because some people might frown on it. I don't, but I got a buddy who does his vocals, and then for his background vocals, he'll run what he's saying into AI, and bro, he comes back with some of the most extravagant background vocals ever, bro. And so I just believe like if you're being a creator, I don't mind the use of AI. If you're using AI to pass it along as your work, then I do have an issue with that.
And that's well said. That's well said. You should be like the spokesperson for you just deliver it so like you can't argue with you. You can't argue with you. You can deliver it so perfect. Now going back a little bit into you and your craft. I know you mentioned reasons, and I also heard you say, I still have a mentor and I'm still learning. What are some of the things that you now have to adopt and adapt to whether it's the time, the era, the equipment, and what are you looking forward to next?
Yeah, so lately, the last 2 or 3 years, I have been on this journey to add engineer to my bag of tricks, right? So my mentor, Mousequake, you guys know the grip.
Shout out to Mouse. He on right now.
Yeah, that's my mentor. Um, and another thing about mentors, I want to say this Jim too. Mentors have to choose who they're going to mentor. The mentor relationship doesn't work like, hey, you're great at this. Can you mentor me? That's not how it works in most cases. So you got to let the mentor choose a mentee. I get that a lot. People will approach me and say, hey, man, tell Mouse I need to, hey, man, introduce yourself to Mouse, man. That's all I can
No, it's true. It's true. Like even the people that mentored me or that I've helped mentor, you see a spark, you see something, and I always crack this joke, but I really mean it. And for everybody that's listening, take the perspective of what I'm about to say. It's a barter system. It's a barter system. Whether I see something and I'm willing to trade my information and my experience because I see the value in it, it's a trade. It's not just you coming, it's because you say, yo, I want to learn. It don't work that way
tell you.
at
It's
all.
more
At
open
all.
than that. Yeah, for sure.
There's one question. There's one question. This is the only question that we ask everybody on the show. If you could go back to the young Gray Keyz with all that you know now and all your experiences and everything you learned, and look at the younger version of yourself and tell yourself something, what would that be and why?
I would tell myself, old Gray Keyz now would tell young Gray Keyz to work like it depends on you, and to pray and have faith like it depends on God. I think if you keep that in perspective, when it's I'm not gonna say if, when life gets hard, and it will, you have something to keep pushing you through. And for me, sometimes it was just the right people. It wasn't me, right? Other times it was me, continuing to grind even though it was moving slow. I feel like those things will help you persist.
That's well said. Most definitely on that one. Most definitely on that one. So, what's cooking up now? What you got going on now? Like, I be seeing you online. I be seeing you cook up. Like I said, I'm always trying to jump on, even if I'm driving. I peek in a little bit
I appreciate you for that too.
to see that, because I really love seeing creativity. Just at that pure form. But what you got going on, or what's in the future for you?
Man, I'm working with some really dope, talented individuals, man. I'm working with Trey Peace out of Atlanta, by way of Chicago, working with a talented singer, songwriter, and vocal engineer out of Atlanta called Lexi ATL. Always working with Mousequake, and we're getting all kind of syncs going and stuff like that. I've been fortunate enough to produce for Devon Terrell, which is one of my musical favorite people in the world. And then I learned he was a world-class engineer too. I've been learning a lot from him. Yeah, man, Beast Dog, Amir Jackson. I've been working with some dope.
Dope. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. With the time, with how the music business and how everything is going, do you, in your point of view, see that the industry is shifting in a bad way, or a positive way, or a neutral way? And if either or, what's one of your approaches or expectations of what's to come for the creatives like you and I?
Yeah, man, that's
That's a loaded one. That's a loaded
a
one.
great question. Yeah, I would say it all depends on your point of view. Um, there's some things about the music industry that's just not right now. Just not right. It's the way streaming works. We got to do better.
Yeah.
But it's also becoming the best time to be independent. And we're seeing a lot of signed artists, make the proper moves to get out of their deal to go independent. And there's not as much label push when you go that route, but there's more. If you got a plan, there's more room for growth for you as a creator.
True indeed.
And you got to see yourself as not just an artist or a producer. You got to see yourself as a content creator that makes music.
Yeah. Yes. That's a big effect in this day and age. Big effect in this age. I got a random question, because I just want to spark and tickle the people on when you became a Raiders fan. When you, because they chewing you out in the chat, man. They getting at you on the chat, man. And they was like, the only downfall, he's a Raiders fan.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things. It's crazy. So I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. That's where my parents met. My mom's from Mississippi, and my dad's from Oakland. So I became a Laker fan and a Raider fan. My dad used to take me to the Oakland Coliseum, the LA Coliseum, when they shifted to LA, and it was kind of going back and forth. So, and then, I ain't ashamed to say this. So my first name is Marcus. My favorite player was Marcus Allen back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, Bo Jackson. Yeah, that's how I became a River fan.
Gotcha. So you mentioned different geographical locations, right? And listening to your sound, if I just heard the raw sound, or someone just like, yo, check out this MP3 or check out this song, I couldn't place you. You
Yeah,
you don't have like a you have great music. It doesn't
thank
sound
you.
like, oh yeah, that's from over there. Has the shift of where you lived and where your family's from be a part of that, or you really geared into just being free from that?
Yeah, it's a combination of both of those things. I think I took a little from all those regions, right? Because they're all very, very culturally different. Um, but the biggest sauce for me was the way you coined it was perfect, is to become free as a creator. No rules, nobody telling you, hey, you can't use that hip hop snare in this R&B beat. If it sound good, it will resonate with somebody else. And so being able to be free in that regard really gave me my sound.
Nice. And you mentioned, being also a content creator who creates music. I want to talk a little bit about social media. I know I mentioned jumping on your lives when I see it. I try to make sure I jump in to see what's going on. But how important is social media to artists' creativity in this day and age?
I think it's crucial because now we're reaching a time where labels don't employ artist development. They don't do that no more. So there's no that just doesn't exist with labels anymore. So what they want to know is now if you post something on social media, will 1,000 people pay attention to the post you made? And if you can do that, labels will become interested in you. You can build enough followers that will move when you say, "Hey, this is a good product." Now they're interested. But
Yeah,
it's not talent first. It's what is that presence like on social media.
yeah. I mean, I could also put truth to that. I mean, I've shot many artists, and in the meeting, as we're listening to the music, they're picking up their phones, and I'm like, yo, I used to be like, they're so disrespectful. I thought they was like ordering food. Like, they so rude. I'm playing the music. I'm doing a whole speech, man. I got my whole pitch deck on the board, and they were on the social media.
And
And
see,
as they're listening, they're matching. Does this look the part? Like, does it fit? Does it fit? And it was about 2 years before I was like, look over, like, oh, they on the person's page. With social media and how important it is, do you think artists are really maximizing the possibilities of their independency in this climate, or are they just wandering? I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
that's another great question, man. Wow. I'm gonna say I think they want to do that, but because the rules keep changing, these algorithms keep changing, um, the way or the path to success is it's just so many avenues right now. I think it's easy to kind of get lost in the sauce. Like, what should I be doing? Like following a blueprint from Mary J. Blige, that's not going to work for you today in 2025. It's not going to happen. Following a blueprint for Dr. Dre, it's not going to happen for you like that today. So how do we get to where we want to be musically with these sets of rules with us, right? How do we navigate in there? And again, I think that comes back to having a strong, you talked about shopping artists, a strong mentor, somebody to guide you through these murky waters, bro.
No, you so right. You so right. I do have a question from the chat, and it's an interesting one. Army chick, and she's referring to the likes on social media for the labels, and her question is, yeah, but are those real people or bought ones? And she said that's one of the problems with social media. And how do you feel about how easy it is to manipulate just the presence in this day and age, and does that hurt artists to you?
I think yes. I think man, having those bots do that work is crazy work. It's actually kind of, yeah, that's crazy. But I do think it hurts not just the artist, but it hurts the entire industry. We find out that the engagement that we're seeing that made us want to go stream a song or check out a new artist is all fake. Man, that's tough. That's
Yeah,
tough.
it is. It is. I've sat in a meeting. This is a true story in Universal Records, and they were looking at an artist, and they were like looking at these numbers, and one A&R was like, "Yo, numbers don't lie," and I looked at him and I said, "But they could be misleading." Like, like look at that boy. Yeah, he got some numbers, but I'm not sure if they really invested in the creativity, and
Yeah,
that's a hard part. That's a hard part. That's a
yeah.
hard part.
And then sometimes it does stick out at you, right? You'll see a high number of views, but low interaction, very little comments. Um, and to me, that's a telltale that something not quite right is going on.
Yeah, that's true. It does tell. You mentioned something real subtle, and I don't want you to go into details in the sake of me understanding how collaborative the progress is, and I'm not gonna say gatekeeping, but you gotta protect. You mentioned sync. You mentioned sync, and I
Mhm.
know a lot of people say, "Oh, sync is where the money is." Yeah, the money's everywhere, right? The money's
Money's
everywhere.
everywhere.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Could you just share just like the preparation as a creative when trying to get into sync? Because people be thinking just because you use the word sync, I'm gonna get my movie over here and I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah,
No, it don't work that way.
it
So could
doesn't.
you just share some of the process without getting into
For
too much
sure.
details of
For
like
sure.
getting ready for sync?
For sure. For sure. I would say I'm gonna probably do. I don't know if we would call these gyms or not, but I would say Clubhouse is a really good resource for finding music producers, music supervisors. Um, you know when you found one, when you find them on social media, they don't have a lot of followers most of the time. Most of the time, a great music supervisor that's really taking music and putting it in movies, commercials, and reality shows, they might have 300 to 700 followers max. It's not always that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean though. I know what you
Most
mean.
That's how it is. And then just doing the work, doing the homework, jumping on the credits of a movie. Every single movie that's ever aired has a credit that says music production supervisor. And you can go on IMDb and find out who that person is and how to reach them. Most of the time, they have a LinkedIn page. And then another gem I would say is pitching your music to music catalogs. It's not a publisher, it's not a agency, but syncs go to those catalogs to pull music.
Yeah.
You can definitely get a sync that way. And then it's just a matter of you know being sharpened by like-minded people. And I always say, like on the production side, anywhere you are in your journey, surround yourself with people you think are better than you. They're better at something than you, and that'll push you know into that next level for you.
Push the envelope. It'll push the envelope.
Yeah.
I told my man, yo, you don't gotta get into details and give it away. My man just, my man, like, yo, listen, this is what you gotta do, y'all. So if y'all not paying attention, y'all just missed it. Y'all just missed it. Um, on this show, let me stop the music. On this show, one of our things is we know we're in the era of everyone getting their flowers. And we know flowers do die. So here on MJMG Presents SHU Radio, we like to give out the honor. And first of all, I want to just take this time to give you your honor in your humbleness in your journey and how you always want to give forward. Just in the short minutes of this show, anyone really paying attention can see how much you love this and how much you love creativity and grooming as well as learning. And that's a breath of a fresh air. So with that being said, we want to give you your honors today on SHU Radio. It's always beautiful, and that's one thing that we want to always do is humanize the creativity. A lot of times we get left to be just musicians, a producer, a rapper, or A&R, whatever. We get stuck to just that title and not humanize the journey of it. So thank you on this process of showing the journey and exposing that. So I just wanted to take that time to do that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what's in the future? Where we going with this? I know the road. I know the road got many roads, but where we going with this?
I'm just really tapped in with my group, man, and I don't mean that to say that my group can't grow. But shout out to Mousequake and the Sicarios. Shout out to Nutty P, who is just one of the best people I've met in this industry. Trey Peace, Devon Terrell, Lexi. Uh, they call him Dog, Reese. Um, yeah, that's really the group I've been working with. Dirty Snares, MIDI Monsters. That's what we doing, man.
Yo, you named a lot of people I be checking, bro. You name I'm in the right place then. You named a lot of people I be checking, or we even played their videos on our show. So
Yeah.
that's pretty dope. Are you willing or interested in working with other people? And if you are interested, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you? He already said how to, so y'all, I hope y'all was taking notes. But what's the best way to reach you if you're open to collaborating and doing some work?
Yeah, for sure. And I missed one person, Cardac Drums, man.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy resource. Super dope fella. But yeah, the best way to reach me is DM on Instagram. I mean, my email is quite busy. Um, but I'm Gray Keyz Music on really everything. But the one I'm tuned in most is Instagram. Which is one.
Cool. And just for learning purposes only, and I gotta stress this. You said, Gray Keyz music on everything, right? How
Yeah.
important is branding? Could you please tell them how important is that, man?
Oh my God, bro. So I get on people all the time because I'm kind of in this unk role now. Like people start coming up to me and say, "What's up, unk?" And I get it. I get it. And I'm embracing it. But when I see on this platform you have one name, this platform you have another name, um, I think it is paramount and crucial to be the same name everywhere you're presenting your brand and your image. Um, we killing the bag if we different on X than we are on Instagram. We killing it. We killing it. Got to do
Thank,
better.
thank you. I just wanted to throw the alley. I had to throw the alley oop. You said it. I had to throw the alley oop because that is very important in this day and age, because people might be on one thing and they still want to find you, and it's not. You are most definitely a man of great insight and wisdom, as well as creativity and passion. Is there one thing or two that you could share in advice or insight to our listeners on the app, or as well as Instagram, that they could take or utilize on their journey?
Yeah, I think that's, and again, boy, you got some really good questions, bro. I think the journey is just that. Like you're always continually learning and adding to the tool set. And if you keep your mindset in that position that you're always learning, that helps you to see that you never really make it, right? That there's no end goal because you're still learning, right? You still you're still headed towards perfecting your craft. So that's my advice: is stay in the mindset of always learning. And
Always, always learning. Never
yeah,
you never outgrow learning.
never outgrow learning. Another thing for me is when we're on the subject um, in music production, I don't talk over my mentor. If he got something to say, I get quiet and I start listening, right? Because I know he has a wealth of more experience in that area than I do. So what I look like trying to overtalk somebody who's been where I am and forgot about it and is on some different stuff now. Um, that's another one, man. Just to keep that humility when you're in a position to learn, quiet yourself a little bit and take the opportunity to learn.
Man, you said it. You hit it on the nose. Listen.
Just listen. Yeah.
Listen, y'all. Listen. I listen. For the people out there, I know the thoughts are yelling in your head, and you formulating the answers to your questions that you don't even know is wrong. Right? The question was wrong. Now, forget your answer. The whole question was wrong, and you already made the answer to that. But take the time to listen, my brother. I really want to give you another round of applause, man. It was really dope. Fresh breath of fresh air and creativities. Shout out to everybody. Miss Jackson said, "Oops," because Miss Jackson, you be listening. Stop it. Sorry, Miss Jackson said, "Oops." Shout out to everybody going on, man. I hope today was informative as well as insightful to you, man. And we will most definitely keep our eyes on you. I would love to hear you come back on and share some of your ventures. If you're working on something, please do. But everybody go with just so the folks online that are not on social media, because we do, again, shout out to the Philippines. They be on here heavy, so salute to the Philippines and everybody abroad. Where can they find you? Give out all your credentials of where they can find you. Listen to what you got going on, who you worked with, all the treats. Could you dump that off on us real quick?
Yeah, for sure. We got a placement recently with the show All the Queen's Men. We got a song on episode 4. I'm sorry, season 4, episode 14. We got a placement in the movie The Comeback with Tay Diggs and April Jones. Yeah, and we're after that sync right now, and we're still doing music too. So Gray Keyz music on everything, Spotify, wherever you enjoy music. There's a project out there called Like Yesterday, featuring Trey Peace and Lexi. It's super dope. R&B is grown. Check it out.
Nice. My man is so humble. He was just like, yeah, we got a placement over here on episode so and so, but like, you know how many people would have led with that? So what you got going on? So an episode so and so, right? We got
Yeah.
that just shows the humility, the humbleness, and the dedication towards the craft, man. So again, we want to thank you for jumping on the show and sharing this insight and the information, because he dropped a lot of gems. And some of them might be cold to y'all right now, so you might have to work through chipping away on the cold to define it a little bit. But if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you most definitely should go and find out. Again, let's give another round of applause to you. Thank you for being on the show. And before we let you go, I just want to leave you with some words. If you have any shout outs, anybody you want to talk to, anything you want to say, if you want to talk to the people, the floor is yours.
Appreciate it, man. Just shout out to Miss Jackson, who's just been an invaluable friend in the industry, unwavering supporter of my work and just everything I got going on. So big love for her, man. She's really taken a lot of folks in my circle and just kind of helped bring us together, you know, even more than we were. So big shout out to her, man. And then it's my overall theme for everybody, man, is keep grinding, man, keep pushing, keep putting in that work.
That's what's up. That's what. Again, my brother, thank you again, man. It was dope. It was dope hearing the man behind the music in front of the music right now. It was really dope. It was really dope to get that insight, man. Thank you for coming on the show, and most definitely keep your creativity going and have a blessed night, my brother. Have a blessed night.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Thank you. You have a good one.
You too, man.
Shout out to everybody that's on right now. I want to say one thing to y'all, man. You know, I got to give my last word. If you guys didn't get anything from tonight, there's one thing that you want to take. In your journey, there's going to be those who knew something before you. There are going to be those who were there before you, had the insight, who tripped, who bumped their knees, hit their head, got black eyes. And when they turn to you and say, listen, I hurt myself. When they turn to you and say, yo, listen, I walked down that road. Yeah, maybe their journey was different. Maybe it was a different time. Maybe it was analog and you're digital. Yeah. Maybe. But one thing is for sure and two things are for certain. They was there and they're trying to tell you something. So even if you might not agree with it, even if you might see the difference in it, listen and take something from it. Because they could have just sat there and watched you walk and bust your head, scrape your knee, and do all the things that they know was ahead. They could have just allowed you to do it. So the next time someone is sharing some valuable information with you, even if you feel it's not valuable, make it valuable. Take something from it because they took the time to share it and utilize it on your journey. And the key thing, especially what Gray Keyz said, don't stop. Keep going. Stopping is the only true way to know of failure. Other than that, it's always progression. So whatever you're doing, I don't care if you're an artist, you want to be the best on the line at your job, you into fashion, I don't care, you're a student, whatever it is you doing, keep progression. Because success is not an accolade, it's a road. And if you're on that road, you continue being what? Successful. Because success is not a completion, it's the continuation. Shout out to everybody on, man, tonight. Give a round of applause to everybody that's on. It was a super dope show. Shout out to everybody on the MJMG Presents app. We're just gonna close this out. We're gonna mix this a little collaborative work. This song is called Ghost, y'all. Please feel free to leave a comment on the chat or how you feel about this. Again, I want to send a big shout out to Gray Keyz, who came in and gave y'all some gems. The student in me was cheering, the elder in me was cheering, and the creative in me was all happy. So y'all have a good night. Love seeing y'all on the show. Thank you for spending the time on MJMG Presents app. And shout out to everybody that's on the show. Shout out to Miss Jackson Media Group. Much love. All right, y'all. I got my funk flex on. I said enough. We're going to get right to the music, man. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. See y'all next Monday. See y'all Wednesday for the A&R desk. Make sure y'all can jump on and submit some music. We got some more insight for you on that day. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Check it out.
Won't slide to my place. 5'7", low waist, pretty face. Get money, yeah, don't have to pay. Head of the game, like Bruno Lay. I'm in the function trying to find you. I'm in the function trying to be your love. I know you wanna be mine too. Cause you fuck me too good to just be friends. After all this time, can we pretend? You slide to my place and I don't hit the high note. Think you go. Cause you fuck me too good to just be friends. And I don't think you're ready for the love of your life. Cause in the morning I'm just a person you want know. I'm an imposter, Jane Doe. I'm just a